hands-ons that I'm going to give you about Rmarkdown. It would be ideal if all of you would have your computers and you can actually start a project. So I can show you how easy actually it is and what are the reasons why not be good for you. You would immediately notice what are the problems that are recurrent. And it will be not only about you, it will be also about the person that you're writing the paper with. So that's a key part of why it might not be for all projects suitable. So first of all, Rmarkdown is basically kind of a spin-off. It's embedded in RStudio. So first of all, I want to say what drove me to basically start using this, and not only why. The reason is that my supervisor basically forced me. You see? This is dramatic.
Looks like a horror movie. Did she send you this YouTube video?
No, but she might.
To scare you up.
This is based on true stories.
I mean, for sure coming from Excel, anything is better.
Yeah, you can go there, and the person is happy of you doing this. But it's also more than that, because there is a link. This is like 40 minutes. You can go. It's a talk about a guy who says how important, like the big consequences that a paper had in the biomed community. That was a very high impact, and it was based on that it was wrong because someone did a copy-paste wrong at some line in an Excel file. And then everything, like they had like super conclusions and the hypothesis was great and everything suited, but it was wrong because it was based on a copy-paste mistake. Therefore, making a mistake is human and you're going to probably make it, and I already have. But the thing is that with this method, it is quite easily, you can track them down quite easily, and even reviewers can point it out immediately, like, oh, you made there an error. So I'm going to show you how you can avoid some of these mistakes. So you go. So Rmarkdown, I'm going to highlight the fact that you can write scientific journals on it, and you can even write for a specific journal. You can already create the specific template for that journal that you want to. They're not all available yet, but there are many that are. But not only you can do scientific journals, but also you can create a nice layout of your results that you can share by a HTML file, so just a web page, basically. You can create notebooks with your code directly embedded. You can make slides, so you can present. Actually, so all these people that actually present on LaTeX, I don't know if you are familiar with these people that do this fancy stuff. Well, this is like a more friendly user setup in order to do that. I'm going to slightly insist also that you can make Shiny apps. Who knows what a Shiny app is? Okay. So I'm going to show you two examples of how this is extremely useful, and it might be the only solution that you have for the set of results that you actually have.
It's app for data manipulation, right?
What?
Shiny.
Shiny?
Yes.
What it stands for?
No. It's a tool to make
yes,
interactive data manipulation.
So it's an interactive. I'm going to explain later in more detail what it is. I'm going to mainly talk about scientific journals because I think it's the most interesting thing for the audience here. Mm-hmm. But you can also even write a book. So everything that I base this presentation on, what I'm going to teach you, based on a book that is written on Rmarkdown, actually. And you can even generate websites and blogs. So, if you are already familiar with the RStudio environment, you are kind of into the open science stuff, so if you're already here, you kind of are. You often troubleshoot from Git or Stack Overflow communities, so you are used to that. So this is one of the main issues. If you have problems when you have an error on R or whatever kind of code that you have, it's difficult for you to get into resolve that, this might be not a good option for you because Rmarkdown and the packages that I'm going to show you are still in development. So you might need to get to this community, and you yourself sometimes, if you want to, create report an issue to the people who are actually building all of these packages. So you can be involved in this back and forward in order to create a better tool, but if you are stuck in kind of coding in R, it might be not worth it, because I spent, for instance, a whole day trying to figure out how to make an alignment, double alignment on a page on a PDF, and the reason was because it was not invented yet. And then I was like, hey, can you please guys do this? Like, yeah, this finishes in April. Sure. Or I like procrastinating. I don't know. Maybe both. So, if you like sharing your analysis with others, and this is a very, very, very transparent way of doing it, because you can share your raw data, and each step of the way in which you have modified your analysis is already in your paper. So then you just need one button and everything is there. You are kind of OCD and like having everything in one single space. This is very useful. This was the second main reason why I did it. I started doing everything on Rmarkdown, is because my collaborators are kind of special. So there's one who just won't do anything if it's not in a Word document. There's another one, the same project. The other one who won't do anything if it's not on a PDF project. And the third one who won't do anything if it's not on a R&D file. So this is the perfect solution for the three of them having the same file, and they have it at the same time simultaneously. And that's great. And also, for instance, when you have prepared everything very nice and beautifully, like for PsychArchive or whatever in a PDF, but then you're going to submit for real into another journal that is going to ask you for a Word document. With one simple click, you just convert your PDF into a Word, and it just, 1 second, everything works. If you use GitHub and, if you use GitHub in general, this is also a very nice tool. However, if you like writing, so this is for the writing part of the paper, in a very collaborative way, it is kind of not extremely straightforward. Because if you want to modify the core data, the core writing, you need to go into this Rmarkdown file, which is not very beautiful, and it's kind of raw. So if you want to insert comments, it's not very useful. If you make a lot of typos, like I do, it won't correct it automatically. So if you have like that kind of problems, it might be less intuitive. So as I said, if you struggle with R in general, coding, if you like having everything in separate places, this is not for you. If you hate sharing your code and you don't like being told wrong, this also is not for you. So, the 101 basic requirements that you need in order to use this are very simple, and basically you're gonna say whatever. So you, of course, need a computer. I highly, highly, highly recommend RStudio in order to use it, but however, if you don't like it, you still can use it and download it with Cran. I'll put the link. If you're going to generate PDF, you need to have installed LaTeX, or you can also have like a version that it will work for everything that you need for the output to work, this package that is called TinyText. And technically, and this is, I think, where really it's very helpful. Even though you don't do your analysis or you're not familiar using R as a writing for writing your results or whatever, you can write it in chunks. You can even in the same document you can chunk out different languages. So you can have a chunk of your results written in Python, the other one in MATLAB, and the other one in R, and they can be all together in one single document, and they will give you your results. The only thing that you need to do is to specify what language you're using for that chunk, and I'm going to show you how. So that's it. Then I'm not a specialist of the other languages, so don't ask me. I only use R, but I'm going to give you one example in Python, saying hello world. That's the only thing that I know to do. So this is a link for the cheat code. So for the ones who really want it, I have one here. I use it all the time. You can have it. It's because if you're riding on a train or something and you don't have access to internet because I don't know by memory all of this, of course. No one does. You just go, you Google it, and you have it in 1 second. But if you don't have internet, this might be very helpful to have it with your computer all the time. And there are several other cheat sheets that are very great in this website, so I highly recommend it. So now I'm going to get our hands dirty, I guess, and do a project together. This would be specifically for writing a paper. But before that, I want to highlight the other advantages of Rmarkdown and how they are embedded together with these Shiny apps. So Shiny apps are basically interactive. It's a framework which allows to have data in a public interactive way. So this is a concrete example of my case in which I wanted to write a paper in which the the consequence of everything that I wrote was based on the definition of input. Because input is a kind of debatable word in my community to some extent. And no one agrees whatever in the literature what input is. I created this Shiny app in which basically I allow you to say if you think that input considers second plane conversations, linguistic conversations, and you can play along and have the 16 kind of combinations possible and see how it affects the total amount of input that exists overall in your data. So because if I would have written 25 pages explaining all the different consequences, whatever, what I did in the paper is that I sent a link to the persons going to this website, say hey, if you don't agree with this criteria, you can go here and play with the data. I don't care. I choose this one because X, Y, Z, blah. And if you don't believe me, here's the data.
How did you like it? Did they give you comments for that?
We're still in the early stages of everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. And right now, this way is a screenshot. I have the pipeline broken because I needed to fix something.
Oh.
So, but anyway. And this is another example in which I think it's really, really great. So this is a combination of writing a website and a Shiny app using Rmarkdown. And this is, for instance, the word bank. So it's a repository for all the vocabulary inventories of children that people have collected. And basically what allows you as super interactive is that you can choose a word, for instance, how the word doctor is acquired cross-linguistically, you choose it, what kind of measure you want, so it's either produced or understood. And you can immediately see how the word varies as a function of the language. So, and this is fairly easily done. What?
Very silly question, I'm sure you mentioned it, but so the Shiny app is that little gray box?
Is this, basically. It's this output.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, you play with
the gray box.
Yeah, and so you program this yourself, or so in this case, no, because this is a repository that's available there.
So basically you have already, I'm going to show you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So, no, don't worry. So this is your RStudio environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go here, you go to Rmarkdown, you go to Shiny, and it creates a Shiny document. And from this Shiny document, it creates already 2 templates, in which basically one is the user that you're going to put like all the data that is going to be needed, and the other one is kind of you play with the interface. And everything is kind of pre-done already. And there is plenty of examples of exactly the output that you want to give. And it's extremely interactive, and it could be tables, graphs, how many like parameters you want to have to change. So I highly recommend it if you want. There's many ways in which your data can be explored, and this allows you to people do that without actually sharing the raw data when you are unable to share the raw data because of license, privacy, whatever. So this is an example. And this is from the same interface. I'm going to show you how to write a paper. Okay. So 101, you have your RStudio open, I guess. And you go here, exactly the same what I did. You go to Rmarkdown. And this is important. So you don't go into document directly. If you want only do a document, it would be, you can do a dashboard basically. But if you go in here from templates, so it's even already done, you go to APA article, you click OK, and it's already pre-formatted for you.
But we don't have.
You don't have that.
No, have that.
It doesn't say that.
You need to install Papaya, I think.
Okay.
So
for
something
that,
with library Papaya or it can.
Yeah. So this is the package. Library Papaya. And because it might still be in document, normally it's already in CRAN, but if it's not in CRAN, you have to install it in DevTools.
It's on Chrome.
It's on CRAN?
Yeah.
Woo! They already did it. Okay, so this Papaya package is the one who's going to give you the APA format, okay? So this is an example, and I'm going to show you how once you already have it,
Okay.
basically you go here in the neat. Yeah, it makes you, this is important because everything that you're going to save, it has to be in the same folder. Yes?
Could you increase a little bit the font? Because we can't read.
You cannot read? Right.
Just command plus.
And maybe turn off the lights.
Also,
Uh,
much better.
Better?
ah, thanks.
Okay. So see, it is written like that. This first part is called the YAML, in which basically you don't have to modify it. You just have to complete it. And you have to insert everything. So this is the example. And if you need, so you have to create this.
Sorry, the package is spelled out P-A-P-A-J-A.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's not available for our versions 3.5.
It is not. So which do you have the latest version?
Yeah, I have the 3.5.
Okay. So this is what I was telling you, that it might not be for everyone because it's versioning all the time. So if you have the latest version, it might not be available for that version. So you need to have, again, either the former version or you need to go through DevTools. Have you gone through DevTools? So that means that you need to download it directly from GitHub.
Oh, true.
It's a line of command. I will put it in the slides.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So it's only a line of commands. And it has happened to me before. You have a Mac and you don't have Xquartz updated, it won't let you do it. So that kind of stupid stuff that Mac does, and that it's kind of problem with R sometimes and the packages and Git in general, this might be a problem for you. And the output is exactly what you're seeing from that line of code. You have the title, first author, whatever, author notes, you have the abstract already formatted, discussion, and this is very nice. It gives you immediately also the references that are just in a .beep file. So, and you just call your file here. This .beep file can be immediately done through Zotero or Mendeley. You just need to export your library. On one click, I will give you this. The only important thing is to have this RMD saved in the same folder that this .beep. That's it. Okay. So this was the example that I gave you. And this is where, more importantly, I think it becomes critical for reproducibility and being lazy ultimately in your world. So for instance, let's say that you have an initial data set for whatever reason. And you're still building this data set, or whatever reason you need to modify, exclude a participant, that you need to say why and all that stuff. But let's say that your results ultimately have changed. With this, the only thing that you need to do is directly call in whatever part of the script that you have written, like in this sample, we have X, Y, Z. You call this, not this particular, but you call a line, code line, embedded in your code, in your text, and it will change immediately all the numbers of the output of your manuscript. So like this, if your overall table where you're calling the information from changes, it will change automatically in all your documents. So this means that you are not going to make a mistake because you forgot to change in some part of the results, that the p-value changes because you changed the mean at top of whatever. Everything is connected as long as you call with an R function inside your text, everything. So for instance, in a real paper that we have wrote, still good? So for instance, this is a real paper that we have written. This concretely is how you call, for instance, the first quartile of a given number. You have chunks that I'm going to explain to you in a bit, in which you basically create your figure right there for everyone to see. So the reviewers have exactly the code that you did in order to create your figure. And because they have your data, that means that they can actually reproduce your exact figure in 1 second. Yes?
But then you give your Rmarkdown like openly when you submit to a journal?
Yes. What you do...
You could also just submit like the R script.
Because, so what happens usually is that you go to a website, you start the publication process, and they say, we want everything in that doc because we are idiots, whatever. No, I'm kidding, but... And you're like, oh, funny, I have everything on PDF, that sucks, right? What you do is that, well, not only that then you can actually here, you will download everything on PDF, but quite easily you go in the top in this YAML section that is in green, well, here is in green, and you will change here PDF to doc. That's it. And then you download a Word document. That's it, in 1 second. I don't even have to be a Word document. It could be an open office. I mean, it's everything, it works.
Look like this.
And it will exactly like this.
Raw.
Exactly. This just changes, and you will have exactly the same document, but in a Word format that is compatible to whatever your reviewer is, your editor is asking. And the thing that we have done, so that they have this document and they have exactly all the pipeline of reproducibility, is that we add in the materials the OSF of the whole project, in which we have anonymized, as Georgia said, and you basically share this. For instance, this is a real example. This is what you use. We create a folder that is called for reproduce, and because we cannot share the raw data because it cannot be fully anonymized at this point, de-anonymized at this point, basically we share the table with anonymized data. So it's not the raw one, it has gone through some editing, but then you have here the real data. So the raw data that we use for analysis. This is the great part. You can embed functions of R that already exist in order to treat your data, like here and here, that you simply call at the beginning. You call source, you put your function, and it will read it. And what else do you need? You need, of course, the .bib that I told you about. And then you put all of this in, with the supplemental materials, for instance, here. You put all of this in OSF, and basically the reviewers have access directly to the raw data that you are sharing, the PDF, how it's formatted, and how you get to all the images, and so the functions that you use to modify your raw data. So by this problem of reproducibility of, oh, how did you get exactly, how are you subsetting your data or everything that you want to have is there. So these are all the questions from this initial output, of course. So this is a concrete example of something that it might be problematic when you're sharing with someone that I'm going to tell you. It's better to share on Git. And this is an example. You will have something like this, like paper RMD, the figures, the PDF, and you go through directly the RMD, and you can download it, couple it to your file, whatever. I recommend this because if you share directly on Dropbox, for instance, because this has happened to me, you will have like cookies or something that is going to be also saved in the same folder. So this means that if you do a modification that is outside this particular project, and you have, for instance, in your own environment stuff, it would kind of overlap, and that means that you might not be able to get the same results if you did some kind of modification. This could be easily solved by just deleting these files, and then you recreate everything. But you might forget that, and you're like, oh, wait, this figure doesn't look the same. And you're like, oh, I don't understand why. It's because of stupid cookies that if you're on Mac, you don't even see. So you need just to clean everything. So if this happens to you, it's because of that. In Git, you will not have this problem because basically GitHub will give you that there is a conflict between these two particular folders already. Okay. Okay. So, have everyone been able to open Rmarkdown project so far? So, okay, this is another example. You untitle, you save it. You can choose already the default output format. For sharing results, I think it's quite easy, the HTML one, but you can choose PDF or Word. Okay. This is an example that I have for you. It's very nice already, the template that they have once you open this, because it explains you everything basically that you need to start the project. And for instance, and this is where I told you, so in order to create a line of code that you want to use for your results, you basically do exactly this same thing. So 3 like this that are now how they called. You open. Here's where you specify the language that you're going to use for this chunk, R. And you can name it. So then here you can go directly to this chunk that you want to go. So that's why you name stuff in these chunks. So example. The echo function, it only means that if you want to show this in the output or not. So echo false, it will not appear. So I'm going to show you just an example. Echo true is that you're going to show the raw code. Okay. You close. basically, what am I doing? Yeah, it's not happy. That's it. And that's how you create a chunk. Here, for example, is the Python one that I told you. You just say that it's Python. I tried before. If you only say that it's Python, it created an angry message for me because I don't know what from Python. But then if you only put, and then the message itself told me, it's because you don't have this, but put Python articulate equal false and it will work, and it did. So, so it's kind of, they already know what kind of problems people often use, and they already will give you most of the answer in the output error messages. So it's quite nice. Okay, it's not very good. So, this is where some stuff has really happened, and I want to show you a problem. So for instance, we have this code. So this is using the default cars, typical R data set that they have in R for doing examples. So let's say we have this regression. Then we choose this coefficient. We name this coefficient B. We want to plot it, and we fit a regression line, right? And then we wrote down, because it's going to be in our paper, the slope of the regression is R equal B. Excellent, we need this. That's it, it's charging over here. It's so happy, it takes like a second, and boom, you have a paper. However, if you are, how can I make this easier? Great. We're here, you have already embedded your graph, and you see, oh, the slope of the regression is -7, and you're like, okay, this is wrong, right? So immediately you can see that it's because you made this error. It's not B for the column, because if you call this object, so like this, you can run only this chunk, like clicking this feature. So that's it. So if you inspect this object, you will find out shortly. Come on. You see that we call the intercept a not. You can open it in your
word from Python. We cannot see it. Oh, it's.
And it's here.
Okay.
And you have nice layouts. This is, I prefer this, for instance, for sharing first results. I think it's because it's a nice layout. You can hide this with this echo function. Echo true, it stays. Echo false, it goes. And you make less mistakes. So if you have more questions, I think I can more easily answer them. But this is the basic thing. It's quite easy. One particular nice thing, because I really like I'm a Nazi presentation person. If you go to the output of whatever PDF file that you have created, then you have to the figures, and it gives you your figure in a without background thing. Yes, it is very nice.
This is so cool.
So
Can you show us?
yeah, so you can open basically. So then you can put it on any background, and you don't have that white awful thing happening. Or change directly on the code, like, oh, choose background to match whatever. Normally you can do it anyway in our studio, but this gives you automatically the output, and it's just nice. And like play around when the legends have backgrounds, and it's like, I want the background here, whatever. This does it automatically, so that you can copy paste it for presentations, and it looks nicer.
So what's the name of the folder again?
It's the name of, for instance,
Figure latte?
yeah. So basically, here is your Rmarkdown thing that we are seeing. Okay.
Okay.
It will automatically create this folder that is called the same of it, but files.
Okay, and
Then you go figures, and they appear.
Okay.
But you need a package for that, right? Because I don't have this
it's.
You need the papaya.
Ah, okay. The one that we cannot.
So it's not working because of the papaya.
Okay.
Okay. The thing with papaya is that it's still on GitHub pretty much. So that's why I don't think that they have it on CRAN like in the full version. But it's really easy to download. And the only requirement that I have found to stop me for properly downloading it immediately is this X-Quartz thing, but this is on Mac. Probably you won't have it if you have a PC. So,
And you have the latest R version.
yes, I do. So,
Yeah, it takes I just downloaded the latest version and downloaded the papaya using DevTools online. It's super easy.
okay.
And it
I'm
works.
going to show
It
you.
works. Yeah, it works.
Yeah. So basically you go here preparing, that's what it stands for. So preparing APA, they only come up with this fancy name. Preparing APA, whatever, doesn't matter. And here you copy this installation, you just copy this on your terminal, on your source console, and it will work. If you want the example, the nice thing also, if your environment is already automatically connected to Git, every time that you need, it saves it, so everything is saved all the time, which is very nice. I never do it because it's not connected, so I'm an idiot, but it could be done, and I highly recommend it. And then, the example is that you only change here, save it. Immediately change, it will give me a Word document. No. So it's not doc, it's Word. Yeah. So it's not doc, sorry, it's Word. And there you have it, immediately on Word document. If anyway you don't want to produce your images for whatever reason on R, you can embed them too with one line. That's like figures, that's your name of the figure, that anything, and that's it. It's there too. So you can put photos or whatever you want in your paper anyway, and it will work. Do you have, yes?
Yeah, this is happening so fast. I'm not following.
Oh, so sorry. Okay. Do you want me to?
But, so, no, I know it's useful.
Can you speak louder?
How much time do you think I can invest in this so I can really get to use it?
I think it depends on how familiar you are already with R. Do you often use R?
Yeah, like
Every week, it will take you one day. Like one full day of and then you'll be like, Like honestly, it's like that. You're beginning, you're like, stupid shit, like a coma, whatever, and you're like, this is not working. But the good thing is that the community of using this is quite big now. So most of the problems that you're going to encounter, someone has already had them, and you go to Google, you type your problem, and someone will have the solution for you, which is very nice. Except for stuff that is not happening yet, like how to align everything perfectly because you're a psycho. No, it's not happened yet, but it will. That's the thing, that you create problems and they will fix them.
I know you said that already earlier, but what are the main advantages, again, of writing one experimental paper in our console? So you don't have to struggle with the graphs, how to position them, and how to make the connection between the commands and the statistical output, for instance?
So
that's one advantage?
That's one advantage.
What else would you try to sell us?
The flexible output format. I think that's definitely something that is very nice.
Flexible in what sense?
That you create this same document, you can download it on PDF, HTML, or a Word document one single click. Okay. You don't need to auto format everything all the time. Okay. I think that the way that you can write your bibliography, particularly here, I mean, also is very, very convenient.
Because you said you could make a connection between the RTU and Zotero, right?
You just need to download a file. But yes, basically yes.
Already formatted as a Zotero.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're gonna stop here for questions. We have a goûter right now, so you'll be able to ask her so many more questions. And so yeah, thank you very much.